Elyse.
Hi there, Tom. Yes, we have declared tomorrow an ABC 13 Weather Watch Day with the high likelihood that we'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms that could disrupt your Labor Day plans. Tomorrow, we'll be watching for some thunderstorms developing to our north. Those will charge through southeast Texas during the day tomorrow. And also the timing is what I want you to be aware of. I know today we saw some thunderstorms right around 4 or 5 o'clock in Houston. I think tomorrow it could be closer to about the lunchtime hour, 1, 2, 3 p.m. in southeast Texas. So it is going to be an impact earlier in the day. And while we might not see big organized severe weather in the traditional sense, these are still going to be stronger thunderstorms, and street flooding is going to be a possibility tomorrow, especially since we saw some heavy rainfall today across the region. The ground is already saturated, so that means flooding could be a slightly higher likelihood tomorrow. And we do have a flood risk for tomorrow. It's a category 2 out of 4 for all of southeast Texas, as rainfall rates within some of those thunderstorms could be between about 1 to 3 inches an hour. And depending on how slow moving they are and where they go and how many thunderstorms you see, that's where we could run into some of that street urban flooding and flooding of flood prone areas. Those areas with poor drainage that you know around your neighborhood that typically get pretty floody and pretty pondy. That's what we'll be watching for tomorrow. But big picture, it is a long holiday weekend, and I want you to be aware of that. We also have the possibility of flooding across central Texas and west Texas. It's not to the extreme nature of what we saw over the 4th of July holiday weekend, but I know it's recent. I know it's fresh. So I want you to be aware of the flood risk across the state of Texas for tomorrow. And it's something we'll be keeping a close eye on here locally too. So your weather headlines for this weekend: showers and thunderstorms. Yes, they're in the forecast for tomorrow, but we also have rain in the forecast for Monday as well on Labor Day. But we've got some changes coming up in the forecast. We'll see several weather fronts move through over the next 7 days, and then a big pattern change likely for next weekend. We're going to go over all of this in more detail, Tom, coming up in my full forecast. And I hear your comments on social media. I know not everybody got rain today, and tomorrow it's going to be a similar story. Some of you might miss out on the thunderstorms. That's why we call them scattered in nature. But with some of those scattered thunderstorms, we could see some heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and frequent lightning. And the best timing for that tomorrow is going to be right smack dab in the middle of the afternoon. It's a long holiday weekend. Sometimes people consider Labor Day weekend to be the last official weekend of summer. I still think it stays pretty hot all the way through the end of September. But if you do have outdoor plans tomorrow, if you're at the pool, if you want to spend some time outside, go to the park, you want to grill, I do think there's going to be some moments of opportunity for that tomorrow, but better chance for that now on Monday. Still for Labor Day Monday, we have scattered storms in the forecast, but some of our latest computer model guidance shows us that we might have some better, drier breaks throughout the day on Monday, but we're still going to keep that chance for a few thunderstorms as well. Here's why. We've got a stationary front that is parked across the Gulf Coast. This is what's to blame for the stormy weekend this weekend. Now, good thing is another weather system will be moving into the early next week that will help kick this out, but it's not really until Tuesday. That's when we'll see the first of 2 cold fronts move through. This first cold front is going to move through. It's not necessarily a cold front by any means. Temperatures are going to be relatively mild and seasonal, but it's first going to help get out all of this rain and drop the humidity levels. Then a secondary cold front behind it, that is what's on the way for the end of the week into next weekend, and this could bring a giant pattern change across the country with below normal temperatures. A taste of fall expected across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. For us here in southeast Texas, you can see that blue does extend to us. It's not that big of an influence, though, in terms of temperatures. Next weekend, we're forecasting seasonal highs and lows, potentially in the upper 60s or low 70s, and then highs in the low 90s. And then you can see across the western half of the United States, above normal temperatures, a big pattern change. And then other parts of the Gulf Coast will still see above normal temperatures for that same time frame. It is almost September. Monday, Labor Day, is the first day of September, and we have to keep a close eye on the tropics. Things are still pretty quiet because of the Saharan dust, but I will say we're starting to see those tropical waves get up and going once again. So over the next 7 days, as one begins to move off the west coast of Africa, it'll enter an environment where it's got a low chance of developing there, but possibly a higher chance of developing as it moves across the Atlantic. 13 alert radar right now. Not a lot to talk about. All those daytime thunderstorms have fizzled out. I was monitoring a few showers and storms that were over the Gulf waters, and I want you to remember that because tomorrow morning, different than what we saw today, we could wake up to a couple of thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast tomorrow in southeast Texas, and a few of those could creep a little farther north along I-10. So tomorrow morning, this is 6 a.m., already thunderstorms earlier in the day than what we saw today. Moving through the day, though, one thing we'll be watching for are some stronger thunderstorms that develop to our north, likely along I-45, to track south into the afternoon and evening. So this is 10 a.m. We'll be on the lookout for those strong storms to arrive in Houston as early as noon, but more so I think around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll see those thunderstorms continue off and on through the early evening hours, and then we are likely drying out by 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night. So your 10-day forecast from here, it is still rainy and stormy for tomorrow and Monday. We have the ABC 13 weather watch for tomorrow. Rest of the 10-day, once we get through these 2 stormy days, we do dry out. We have those couple of fronts coming in to reinforce a beautiful stretch of weather for the first couple of days of September.
Getting your trash picked up in the city of Houston is typically a pretty straightforward process. Put your trash in the bin, take your bin to the street. Your bin is emptied and left on the curb. But what if you don't have a bin? That puts a real wrench in the process. 13 Investigates found that thousands of Houstonians are working through that right now.
And he says because he needed a new bin. When 13 Investigates stopped by his home last week, no bin.
That you're going to get a trash can anytime soon?
Oh my goodness, no. No.
And we found that apparently it was. In my initial email to Solid Waste Management, I included Price and Hillerbrand's address and their situation. I sent that email on Thursday at about 1:15. By 3:15, both of them told me that bins had arrived at their homes. But what about the other thousands of people who need them? When can they expect theirs? That's what we want to know. Mycah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
And here in Houston tomorrow, we have an ABC 13 weather watch day with the potential to see some strong.
Our city really did change as a result of the changes that happened to New Orleans.
Right, and I think Katrina as a whole, another storm, it's a way that the Gulf Coast, we're all like one big family, right? And we can all help each other in need. And I'm so thankful that Ronisha shared her story with us. What a great story as well.
Met her husband.
I know, and now she's got 2 kids here, which is amazing. As for the forecast, we'll get into that now. We do have the possibility to see some bigger thunderstorms in southeast Texas. Is going to be the primary concern. It's a risk area of 2 out of 4 for that street flooding tomorrow, as some of these thunderstorms could produce rainfall rates of 1 to 3 inches an hour. And if they're slow moving, we got 1 flood advisory today. I do anticipate us seeing some more flood advisories in the middle of the day tomorrow. I also want to point out it is a holiday weekend. Last patriotic holiday weekend, we had that flooding in central Texas. We have another risk for flooding tomorrow across the state of Texas, in central Texas, and also into west Texas. It's not to the level of what we saw during the 4th of July, but it's something I want you to be aware of, as that is a fresh memory for so many. As for your Labor Day forecast, though, some somewhat positive news. Well, we still got rain in the forecast, but it does look like on Labor Day Monday there will be some breaks between the thunderstorms. They don't look as prolific as what we'll see tomorrow, as widespread at times, but we are going to have the opportunity to see some rain on Labor Day, but slightly drier. So if you do want to get in more of those outdoor plans, going to the pool, grilling, whatever it may be, Monday might be a better shot of that. Why we're staying rainy, we got this stationary front. It's parked right overhead, so that is just one ingredient we need for thunderstorms, and it's going to stay here for tonight, tomorrow, and Monday. It's not until Tuesday when we start to see a new weather system, the first of 2 cold fronts pushing through the region. That gets the humid weather pattern out of the way. Temperatures aren't going to really drop that much, but then looking ahead to the following weekend, a big cold front is going to be moving through much of the country, and this is going to open the door for potentially a pattern change. For us, we'll see the impact of the front, but not to the level of what we're going to see farther to the north. Across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, very much a taste of fall for them. For us in southeast Texas, I'm thinking lower humidity and more seasonal September weather, which is morning lows in the upper 60s or low 70s, afternoon highs in the low 90s, and then you see the big pattern flip across the West Coast. It's above normal for the same time frame. Rain time frame for tomorrow, there we go. Kind of rhyming there, but rain time frame for tomorrow, we are going to see some thunderstorms in the morning, so that's already a difference. We'll have some activity early on, then rain chances climb as we go on throughout the day. I think it's going to be the most active on 13 alert radar right in the middle of the afternoon, and then into the evening we see any rain that develops during the day fizzle out past sunset. 13 alert radar right now, not a lot to talk about. We had some activity over the Gulf waters. That's something I want to point out, because tomorrow morning, that's where the storminess could begin. So looking at tomorrow morning, you see the rain along the Gulf Coast, along the southeast Texas Gulf Coast, and over the Gulf in the morning. But some of those showers could creep a little closer to the I-10 corridor tomorrow before we see the main event roll in, which will likely be this big storm complex that develops to our north and moves to the south. This is 2 p.m. You see the rain, a lot of activity, some stronger thunderstorms with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and lightning pushing in from north to south. We have some lingering showers in the forecast through the evening hours, and then we're drying out after that. And because of the chance for some bigger thunderstorms, that could impact your long holiday weekend plans. That's why it's an ABC 13 weather watch day for tomorrow. We'll likely have some flood advisories and some weather alerts issued tomorrow. As for Monday, still the chance for a few scattered thunderstorms. Then we see some beautiful, pleasant weather into the first full week of September. Two fronts that will really reinforce the less humid weather, some mild, more September weather for this time of year, Tom.
Thanks so much. Let's get a final check of the weather with Elyse.
So tomorrow is an ABC 13 weather watch day because of enough. We're eventually going to get there. Fall is eventually going to come.
Elyse, thank you, and thank you for staying up late with us. Until we see you